The applause was still ringing in the rafters when the doors finally closed behind him. By sunrise, he would be banished forever from the very stage that made him famous. How does someone go from being the most celebrated comic voice of a generation to the man everyone quietly avoids? And can a person who made millions laugh ever find peace within himself? The name Chevy Chase once brought immediate recognition. America's funny man, the face of Weekend Update, the klutzy dad in a string of holiday misadventures. But behind that sarcastic smile and fast-talking charm was a legacy weighed down by wounds that never healed, friendships burned to ash, and a talent so undeniable it almost masked the trail of damage left behind. Almost. Born Cornelius Crane Chase in 1943, Chevy came into the world already surrounded by towering expectations. He wasn't just any kid from New York. He was a descendant of the Vanderbilts, a family so embedded in American aristocracy that his early life seemed paved in privilege. Even his nickname, Chevy, carried weight, rooted in Scottish tradition, drawn from a legendary border skirmish, a symbol of pride and resilience. On paper it looked like the perfect setup for greatness. But life behind those estate walls wasn't the idyllic picture wealth might suggest. After his parents split when he was just 4, a much darker story unfolded. His mother and stepfather subjected him to emotional and physical abuse, locking him in closets, punishing him cruelly, and creating a childhood where survival came at the cost of trust. The trauma left marks no amount of success could fully erase, pushing him toward humor as a form of self-defense long before it became his profession. Chevy's schooling took him through some of the most prestigious institutions in the country, but he never played by their rules. He was clever, rebellious, and often too sharp for the room. Kicked out of Haverford College after a prank involving a cow in a dorm room. Yes, an actual cow. He still managed to graduate valedictorian from the Stockbridge School, proving that even in chaos, he could rise. Music was his first love. At Bard College, he played drums in a jazz band with none other than future Steely Dan legends Donald Fagen and Walter Becker. That rhythm, that intuitive sense of timing, would become the foundation for his unique comedic voice. He didn't just learn to hit the punchline, he learned to let the silence before it make it echo louder. By the late 1960s, comedy became his new stage. Channel One, a boundary-pushing New York group, threw him into the world of edgy satire and experimental video sketches. Their work caught fire in the underground scene, leading to The Groove Tube in 1974. A movie that not only turned a profit but left a creative fingerprint on the future of television comedy. One of its most lasting effects? It planted the seed for the iconic Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live. Around the same time, Chevy was working on the National Lampoon Radio Hour with future comedy giants like John Belushi and Gilda Radner. These were raw, unfiltered voices shaping American humor, and Chevy stood out for its sharpness and speed. He was a writer, a performer, a satirist with a musical sense of timing. He wasn't just part of the comedy revolution. He was leading it. Then came the night that changed everything. At a premiere for Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Chevy's antics caught the eye of Lorne Michaels and NBC executive Dick Ebersol. It wasn't a polished audition, it was a spontaneous moment, a fall into a puddle, a burst of laughter, an impression delivered with uncanny accuracy. That was Chevy. Messy, unpredictable, but impossible to ignore. By 1975, he became the face of the brand new Saturday Night Live. His Weekend Update segment redefined television satire. Dry, absurd, and unforgettable. "I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not" became a national catchphrase, a mantra that poked fun at ego while somehow embodying it, too. His impression of President Gerald Ford as a clumsy, stumbling figure turned political commentary into physical comedy, shaping public perception in ways no sketch had done before. Fame hit hard and fast. After just one season on SNL, Chevy had won 2 Emmys and a Golden Globe. He was the darling of late-night television, the man critics called the funniest in America. But just as quickly as he rose, he walked away. Officially, he cited a desire to pursue film, and a relationship with actress Jacqueline Carlin who didn't want to relocate. But many saw it as the beginning of a long pattern. When things got complicated, Chevy bolted. Still, he didn't miss a beat. His film career launched with Foul Play in 1978, a box office success that proved he wasn't just a sketch comedian. He was a bona fide movie star. He passed on Animal House, a gamble that paid off with his breakout role and opened the door to a string of comedic triumphs throughout the 1980s. Caddyshack, National Lampoon's Vacation, and Fletch weren't just hits, they were touchstones of American comedy. As Ty Webb in Caddyshack, Chevy improvised lines that became instant classics, bouncing off Bill Murray with electric chemistry. As Clark Griswold, he anchored a franchise that families watched every holiday season, turning chaotic road trips and disastrous Christmases into comforting, laugh-out-loud traditions. By the end of the decade, Chevy was commanding up to $7 million per film. He had creative control, adoring audiences, and an open path to write his own legacy. But behind the curtain, stories were spreading, of difficult behavior, clashes with co-stars, and an ego that made collaboration nearly impossible. His relationships with fellow comedians were strained at best, openly hostile at worst. Tensions with John Belushi spilled out on stage in awkward, combative skits that barely hid their mutual dislike. A return to SNL in 1978 led to a backstage brawl with Bill Murray, an incident so explosive that cast members were shaken. Later, Chevy's cruel treatment of openly gay cast member Terry Sweeney, mocking him, playing on harmful stereotypes, crossed a line at a time when the AIDS crisis was tearing through the entertainment world. There was no public apology, no attempt at understanding. Just more bridges burned. The final nail came in 1997. Back to host SNL once more, Chevy reportedly struck cast member Sherry O'Terry during rehearsals and made a string of offensive misogynistic comments. Will Ferrell witnessed it. Others corroborated it. And this time there were consequences. SNL quietly banned him for life. It wasn't a press release. It wasn't dramatic. It was worse. The door just never opened again. Around the same time, a young director named Chris Columbus quit Christmas Vacation after clashes with Chevy on set, describing the experience as creatively suffocating. That decision turned out to be pivotal. Columbus went on to direct Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Harry Potter, while Chevy's film offers dried up. The 1990s were unkind. His self-titled talk show, launched with enormous hype on Fox, flopped so badly it was pulled after just 5 episodes. Despite a lavish set and an A-list budget, viewers tuned out. Critics shredded it. Even Chevy admitted it was a disaster. His return to TV and Community gave fans hope, but behind the scenes, history repeated itself. His treatment of Donald Glover, sarcastic jabs laced with racism, alienated the cast. He reportedly dropped the N-word on set in frustration. Yvette Nicole Brown, disgusted, left the show. The cast began to chant, F******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** sermon. A rant so personal and profane it shattered any remaining goodwill. Even outside of work, Chevy's temper boiled over. In 2018, he got into a fight on the highway after confronting a driver he thought had hit his car. The man knocked him to the ground. Only later did he realize who he had punched, a comedy legend who once lit up the screen, now reduced to viral TMZ headlines and public scuffles. Still, when asked about his reputation, Chevy never wavered. "I don't give a crap," he told a reporter in 2022. "I am who I am." And maybe that's the most haunting part of his story. For every unforgettable moment, Clark Griswold's tangled lights, Fletch's quick wit, Ty Webb's strange wisdom, there's a cloud of conflict, cruelty, and missed chances. Comedy came easily to Chevy Chase. Kindness, it seems, did not. He redefined a genre, inspired a generation, and shaped how millions laughed. But in the end, the silence after the joke was louder than the laughter that came before it. If you found this story compelling, give it a like and hit subscribe for more deep dives into the untold truths behind the fame. We bring you the real stories behind the spotlight. Every rise, every fall, and everything in between. Thanks for watching.